Happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome to ATI Pro Media. We're powered by advanced trading. The show's building itself. We're going to have today's news today. One of the things I'll tell you that's interesting, crude oil. I don't know if you know, but we have an election in 60 days. Amazing how the price at the pump comes down. You might get the old I did that sticker taken off the pumps. I just put 287 gas in my tank. Call to action. What's fuel in your area? By the way, we have harvest coming up. If you need a little fuel, you might want to back up the truck, call the fuel guy or gal, lock a little of that in because you know you're going to be burning it with that record harvest coming. We have markets moving. Grains were lower last night. They're coming back. We're going to go to LaSalle Street. Connor B's co-host today. Not the co-host. He's the real host. He just lets me fill in once in a while. D's corn up a quarter. No beans up one. Meal and oil hanging out up a little bit after yesterday's debacle with the canola. Board of Trade wheat unchanged. KC up 3. Hard red spring up 2. Take it to the cattle. Live cattle up a little. Feeder cattle down 60. Lean hogs up 50 after a bad day. Wall Street it is, boys and girls. Gold up $3. Silver up 15 cents. 2s, 5s, 10s, 30s. Interest rates are coming down close to the lows of the year. Hear what I'm saying, folks? Crude oil's down. Interest rates are coming down. Things are lining up. Natural gas, 22.11, up 8. Dow Jones, up 25. NASDAQ down 150. S&P down 15. Bitcoin down 1,800. 56,000 Bitcoin. That's a little scary. I might be creeping into those micro Bitcoins at this level. Futures and options have risk. Dr. Copper down. We had a little debacle yesterday on Wall Street, but in percentage terms, let's keep it real. Connor B, let's bring him in. Keeping it real, Connor B. Everyone, the Dow Jones is down 1.5%. Canola was down 7%. That's like the Dow Jones going down 2,500. Keep it in perspective, boys and girls. Futures and options have risk. Canola went on the roller coaster ride yesterday. But I will say this. I believe, and I have to do some math, Nvidia lost more yesterday than the whole value of the 2024 corn crop, bean crop, and wheat crop. You can price check me out there, all you math gurus, but simple Tommy math, 15 billion bushels of corn times 4. Good luck if you can get 4. I don't know where you're going to get that. 15 times 4, 60 billion. Nvidia drops 260 billion yesterday. Shows yours, full screen, Connor B.
Drop yesterday. It was the largest ever destruction of market cap. Talk about putting in perspective when we look at Nvidia. 278 billion. Tommy, what was that? What was it, down 6-8% on the day?
Mm-hmm. So one of my smart Wall Street guys say it's about 24% off the June highs, my friend.
Yeah, super. I mean, it's just amazing. You talked about it yesterday when you were on with Brady about, the Dow's down. It's still at 40,000. The largest destruction of market cap ever, 278 billion in a day. We're talking some real money when we're looking at Nvidia. So, Tommy, we got a good show. Grains up again, right? We had a nice run. We'll take it. I think it's on the backs of some good demand, potential for great demand, maybe. Time will tell.
Yeah.
And then I think I want to look at a little weather, South America. I talked about it. I've got a few charts. But if you want, let's dive right into the headlines. You ready?
Yeah. Full string on you.
Good.
I'm going to keep drinking a little drink back here, sipping a little, drink a little drink, smoke a little smoke. Isn't that a song?
It is. Isn't that Eric Church?
Guy.
So, all right. So the show's going to be, Connor's going to be talking, and we're going to have your conscience. Tommy Grisafi is going to jump in here as well. Right. And so let's
Lord,
look.
No one needs that.
You talked about gas prices are at the low. Looking at crude, $1 away from 52-week low. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tommy, but if we're looking into seasonals in gas prices and crude, we're going to start creeping lower. There's a real chance we put in calendar year lows on that crude oil in the next 1 to 2 months. Time will tell there. A lot could happen, but ticking lower on crude oil, rate cuts happening, election in a few months, and so things will go. Here's one I saw, Tommy, I want to talk about. Reuters did it. Nope, next one, Joe. Ethanol push turns India into a corn importer. All right, when we talk exports, imports, right? India is not a big player for us in the United States. They're a major importer. I think they're the number one they're a number one corn exporter in Asia, right? Well, they're making a push to ethanol. Stop me if you've heard this one. If we go back to when was the ethanol boom, right? In the early 2000s in the United States. So they're turning from a net exporter, right? Producing a lot of ethanol. They're importing a lot more corn. All GMO. They're looking for Ukraine is kind of their number one destination. But if we can look at a disruptor in terms of exports and something that's a boon for the U.S., I think I'll take it, Tommy. Looking at this, India starting to import a lot of corn. We're number 2 population. I think it's good to see. So headline that really caught my eye. We don't talk a lot about India, and so we're going to follow that one closely. And so you couple that with weather in Ukraine, right? I saw a headline that was talking mostly focused on the wheat crop, right? Most of Ukraine's wheat is winter wheat, and they're in a big drought, right? Not ideal conditions, and time will tell there. And so with that, what else we got? Let's keep banging
Cargill,
along.
baby. Cargill.
Cargill.
We're feeding
Let's
the world.
do it. Let's do it. Jump in there. Cargill, largest privately owned company in America, enjoyed a biblical bonanza, but leaner times loom. That's a direct quote from Bloomberg, I believe. And just talking about how, right, Cargill, I'm going to try and paraphrase the article, talking about how when Cargill's times are really good, it's not necessarily good for the, the whole economy, the average citizen, because when food inflation skyrockets, that's when Cargill does well. Right now, it's the opposite, right? We've talked extensively about ag companies and how they're hurting, right? And Cargill, we're not necessarily seeing those numbers because they are private, but we know that profits are much lower than they were in 21, 22, 23. So time will tell, right? But I don't think Cargill is going to do an IPO anytime soon. I think they're just happy staying private. What are your thoughts, Tommy?
Yep. When I was a kid, I used to get the once a year the Forbes magazine comes out with the Forbes 500, and this was before the tech boom. Okay, so a lot of the people you see on there are definitely Silicon Valley. This is when Jeff Bezos was in high school type of stuff. Okay, but the Cargill family split. It's not like they split, but the kids married off to another family, and when you look at the some of the wealthiest people in America, it's there's 20, 30 names of multi billionaires who spin off from the Cargills or the Walmarts or stuff like that. So there's interesting dynamics. Now we've had a massive rally in tech here the last few years, 10 years, 20 years, and so that those numbers have changed. You hear names like Bezos and stuff. But with that, yeah, Cargill, they're not going anywhere. ADM, Cargill, all the big boys, they're around, but they're privately owned. So when ADM has an accounting problem, they put it out there. If something happened in accounting and Cargill, I don't know what they would do or say. It's just run interesting. It's like a club. Like anyone who's ever worked at Cargill was in that Cargill club. It was definitely a fraternity, a sorority of sorts in the ag world. What do you think of that? We lost Connor B. You back?
I'm back.
I'm back.
I was pulling something out. I'm pulling. You were talking Cargill. I wanted to pull in a chart. It pulled down my bandwidth. But
that's okay.
Looking at, let's pop this up. Just looking at, this is just India, right? Just to give a little color on exports versus imports. As you can see how big of an exporter they were. And then we get to 2024, right? The script has flipped. Interesting. It's going to be interesting to follow next couple of years. Could we see them be a bigger and bigger importer of corn? We can hope.
Yeah. Interesting times. Love a little harvest rally. Our folks up there with spring wheat getting a chance to sell it higher. Had people buy spring wheat futures just like a week ago. I want to say last Monday or Tuesday, I had a couple clients say, I want to buy spring wheat futures here and offer them 40 cents higher. This is the client's choice. It already happened. They bought spring wheat futures, offering them 40 cents higher. They're out. So futures and options have risk. I tell you what, if you don't think options work, those futures do, folks. I tell you what, you buy one future, every penny, they move up or down $50, either coming to Chicago or going home. Same thing on the sell side of those. And each of them have their place. We can give hours and hours of premium content on why we sometimes wish clients would use more futures and then why we think they should be in an option. It all depends on if you're transferring the risk or managing the risk. And if you don't understand that, you really need to sit down with someone and have that re-explained to you. Speaking of explain to you, I had a banker friend call from Mayville, North Dakota today. He said, after 10 years of you being up here, you've really helped some people. And in some ways, you've helped nobody. In that there's still the same people making the same mistakes. And then there's a whole new group of people who latched onto what you're doing and cash flowing better. And he goes, it's real obvious who gets this and who doesn't. Just something he pointed out. And it's one of the biggest bankers up there in the Red River Valley. It's a compliment to anyone who's willing to educate themselves and change, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Tommy, yesterday you pulled me on real quick when Brady has an internet issues, and I talked about South America weather, right, and just how they're really hot and dry. And so, wanted to look at our friend at T-Storm. Gives a little color about percentage, right? The GFS future precipitation percent of normal. We're talking very, very dry the next 14 days in Brazil and also in Argentina. And so, right now, we're looking at getting that soybean crop in the ground, right? I want to add color. It's very dry, but it's not like it's very dry in the U.S. in July, right? When we're really could hurt this crop. They're still in the soybean planting. It's something to pay attention to, but I think it's going to be, you should look at it as opportunity, right, to hedge. So something to pay attention to. Very, very dry in South America, dry in Ukraine. Things I think we need to pay attention to, especially if you want to be a bull in this market.
Yeah, it's the American farmer's dream. Holy cow, we forgot to sell. Someone else needs to have a problem. Here's your someone else. You got India buying, you got Ukraine problems, you got South America. This is the bad marketer's dream come true. Store and ignore, working a little bit better. Hey, funny you mentioned that. I watched I believe Brady Huck posted, like, he had that article he wrote about store and ignore, and he posted on one of those crazy blogs, and boy, did they didn't tear up him, they tore up the if you ever accuse a group of farmers of making a mistake, 100,000 will come out and say that's not what happened or something. It was funny. I wouldn't. He went and swam with the sharks, and there was a couple bites in that article. But nonetheless, the content of the article was great. He was correct. His math doesn't lie. Math doesn't lie. The math doesn't lie. And if you need help with the math, give us a call.
Yep, absolutely. Well, what else we got? We're still staying positive on grain markets, right? Corn, soybeans, wheat.
Yeah, things are good.
We'll
Yeah, little rotation on some stuff. Stock market bouncing back. A lot of focus on the equity market. It was really strange to say, as the VIX, the volatility had a spike. As the VIX went up, I kept watching grains go up, and grains sold off pretty hard at the end of the day. Soybeans came 15 cents off the high. Right at the end of the day, corn, wheat, and beans had a nice launch. We start to close the markets at 1:15. We settle, but we stay up for open for 5 more minutes after that. We kind of had a little push. I call that the after hours from 1:15 to 120. There was a chance to sell some grain above settlement. And then what typically happens, I see that, I'm like, oh, okay, I could sell corn plus one over settlement. And then when the hedging comes in at night, they sell it back to you, and that exact trade happens. So sometimes we pop, lack of sellers after the bell. Hedging all around America comes in. We open lower. We traded a lot lower last night. This is great price action, folks. The fact that beans were down 10 last night, 24 cents off the high, and rallied to up 4. This is good price action. We're coming into harvest. I had that same banker ask me, do you think the crop's a lot smaller? I said, no, markets have a fascinating way of digesting news faster but Pro Farmer's number was bearish. I said, the Board of Trade didn't wait for Chip Flory to release his number to determine we had a record soybean crop. So the markets figured that out, traded it, processed it, had that flush out on that Sunday, Monday, Monday's business, but the Sunday after Pro Farmer, digested it and rallied 70 cents. That is great price action that you can throw that much bearish news. Real quick, I wanted to talk about this before we get done. Questions, comments, shoot them. The short-term traders caught the short-term traders caught. So there was a group of traders who said, when beans get below 10, we're going to hit it. We're going to hit it hard. And so every day we spend above 10, you're putting a little pressure on those guys. And I felt like we had a mini puke when we went to 1024. I felt like if we get above that level, you could get really interesting. Do you understand what I'm saying, Connor? Like, to be short as a hedge fund, a CTA, or anything else, it's been easy. But then a group of people who weren't as sharp got in late. And so the last person to get in really said, this is easy. You sell $10 beans, they go to $9.50. They didn't get to enjoy that. And I think there's already a bunch of short-term traders who are underwater, and they are uncomfortable. They are getting up at 2 a.m. to go to the bathroom and check the check the markets. Hey, we had a question. I'll answer it in the sense that there's someone on the comment board asking about fees, commission structure. Just give us a call. We'll get you to where you need to be. It depends what you need. It's not what we want.
Yep.
It's what you want. Why don't you give us a call and we will ask you what you want and we'll tell you whether or not we can do it. Any other questions, comments, anything else? We can jump into it. Tight show. One quick thing.
Nope.
Yesterday at the end of the show, I said crude oil's down $3. I'd be surprised if corn could hold these levels. I was 100% wrong. That was awesome. I love being wrong when corn closes up 8. Pretty wild to see crude down $3 and corn up 8 again today. Crude oil down 90 cents, 69.43. Really a call to action, folks. When you get done watching ATI Pro Media, if you're watching this on the replay, call the fuel guy. Harvest is going to happen. It's going to happen, and farmers are going to sell beans off the combine, and they're going to switch and decide if they want to own futures or options or something else. But you're not going to be able to not make a harvest. And real quick to you, Connor, I've been talking a lot. I got up and worked out early. Do I look a little stronger? You want to see the gun show? You've been to the gun show, Connor.
What's it like? We need the camera lower. You look great though.
Yeah, you need to get some sun, son. What's it like when you work in an elevator and the harvest is huge, and then the talk at the coffee shop on September 4th of I'm not going to sell this stuff, us farmers are going to hold, and then just the trucks and wagons and everything else are just plumb full. Explain mentally, psychology, a little psychology on how it changes. Like, we're going to store this crop to holy cow, I just got to bring it to town. Like, we're going to have that holy cow, it's going to town move, correct?
Yeah, when I'm going to put on merchandiser, your grain elevator manager hat, right? Number one, when we've got big crops, and let's say we've got a little bit, maybe a little too much old crop still sitting in the bin too, right? Carries are there. It's not necessarily the wrong thing to do. But the main objective is going to be, how do we keep the doors open, right? If we're getting slugged, let's say, I don't know if this is going to be the year for that, but let's say we get a bunch of wet corn and we get hammered in maybe the next 2-3 weeks at the elevator. And so that's the main focus, right? That's what we're going to be worried. We got to keep the doors open. And so to do that, right, that's not necessarily positive basis. That basis is probably going to drop. They're going to be, if it's going to the river, if it's going to the local processor, wherever they're merchandising that grain, basis in this scenario, right, basis doesn't have to get stronger. They're going to get enough corn. And so then I think, Tommy, to your question, right, how does that switch? Suddenly, if you're a farmer, you're looking at, okay, I'm going to store most of this crop. You get out there, hopefully, right, fingers crossed, those yields are much better. Suddenly it's going to be, we've got to get this harvested. We've got to keep everything moving. And to do that, we're going to take some to town. It just becomes that harvest glut, right? Especially, you see this in Central Illinois when if everyone is on corn, that's when you feel it at the elevator, Tommy. You kind of miss, it's insanely busy. I know the people that are still in it are going to think I'm crazy for saying this, but you kind of miss that just slam where you're super busy. Trucks are flying in and out of there. All you're doing is just making sure the wheels are greased and everything keeps moving and operating. And so that's going to be the main focus, right? Can the elevators handle that big harvest glut? If we, and I think we do in Central Illinois, these big yields. And then, are we going to see, once it switches to soybeans, that's a different topic, right? We got to worry about soybean space, but then it feels like it kind of slows down. You just try and make it, and you just keep treading water and try and stay in front of it, Tommy.
Yeah, real quick question, trivia. When you worked at the elevator, what's the most trucks you've seen dumped in a day at the facility you worked at?
Oh, man, the most we saw, I think, Glenn Minke, if you're watching, tell me if I'm wrong. Back, I think we dumped, I can't remember the truck number, but I think did we hit 300,000 bushel in a day?
Bushels? Yeah.
And
I
can't remember
300 truckloads. Yeah. That's awesome. All right, quiet day. One question out there. Grab this one, Connor B. We'll get out of here.
Could beans be in a dead cat bounce? Time will tell there, Ethan, right? We've had, in terms of a dead cat bounce, Tommy, what are we off low on November soybeans? We're at 10.15. Are we at 50, 60 cent bounce now, or is it more than that?
Oh, yeah. From yesterday, we were at every bit of, I'm looking at it right here. The dead lows was 9.55. And say we went to 10.25, which we didn't, but we're real close. We're looking at every bit of 60, 70 cents all day long. But when you look at the daily, we're just starting to go up. So to say this can't go up, we're not anywhere there. Hey, real quick, if we're talking technicals and charts, everyone got all excited. The corn market hit I believe Brady said the 50-day. We need to talk about that. The corn hit the 50-day, and it's bouncing off that. Real quick, we forgot to talk about premium content. We cranked out why we're selling beans, and then bring that up, Joe or Rick. Premium content, I jumped on and talked about the open last night. Get ready to sell cash soybeans. It's going to happen whether you want it or not. Get ready. Then we sent you just a few other snippets. These are all free to the world. Not this one, but Brady Huck did a great job on AgriTalk. I listened. It was really fun to listen to him. He was extremely well organized man with a plan. Did a great job. Make sure you catch that. Then also we told you to watch this other one on AgriTalk. It was Professor Dr. Hart from Iowa State University. So a lot of good content out there, folks. We ain't the only game in town, but we sure do appreciate that y'all show up every day to watch us. If you're watching on the replay, we'd love for you to subscribe to ATI Pro Media. It's $30 a month, $1 a day. We threw this up the other day, see if folks can scan this, which they would have to be watching this on their laptop, which most people don't do that. Most people are watching on their iPhone. So I don't think you can scan a QR code when you're watching on your iPhone that you need the QR code.
Can you screen? Maybe you can screenshot it or
whatever. There we are. This will get you right to the ATI Pro Media phone. If you need to subscribe, www.atipromedia. We appreciate it. We've had compliments. We have people sometimes they don't want to subscribe. Try it out for 30 days. If it's your cup of tea, then give it a go. I think you've done sillier things for. You're going to spill more corn today than ATI Pro Media Premium is going to cost you.
So
all right.
We had two calls or you had one call to action, Tommy, right? You wanted to see what gas prices were. Other one, how soon are you going to get rolling, right?
That'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah. How soon, right? Nick, give me your estimate. Dakota guys, right?
Late. They need all September and a lot of October. Yeah. And
so
I have
easily a month. Even the big boys. Yeah, month, 3 weeks to a month.
It's just how the weather hit. We had some cold weeks. We had this. By the way, beet boys are happy. Wheat boys are happy. North Dakota folks are happy. The bushels are there. They need some time to let this corn crop finish. And I will start calling around today, texting and asking them. I want to play on to what you're saying. I had a client who's a merchandiser here in northern Indiana who works in an ethanol plant, who's also a client. And he said he hopes there's he said, I hate to say it, but I'm praying that there's a delay in harvest. When corn harvest hits, he said, I don't hope it's perfect weather for 16 days and they just go. He's like, I hope it's nice for a few days, rains, nice for a few days, right? Like he wouldn't mind seeing a couple of rain breaks, and those rain breaks are what can get you that pop in the market or something else. So there's times where I've seen the whole United States get pretty wet during harvest. And then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, Halloween's happening. We need to get this on. The snowflakes are going to start flying in the northern plains in November. So you could see some corn out there sitting for quite a while. And the flow of how this big record crop comes to town will also play, maybe so much not on the futures, but watch your cash market, then watch your spreads and watch your futures. That's it, my friend.
Yep. Well said. Let's get out of here.
See you, buddy.
See you.
Thanks for joining us. We're here every day, 9 a.m. Central. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.